Hi, my name is Gethen Christine, and this is Weam Namou, and we are here to present to you our exciting new program called Quantum Healing Through Storytelling and Spirituality. Yes, I am with award-winning, multi-award-winning author and filmmaker Weam Namou, and I myself am a spiritual healing coach, plus I give a bunch of other wonderful things. Together, we have combined our forces and we are providing an incredibly unique opportunity to connect with your higher self, with your own personal narrative, and how to change your life and co create the life of your dreams. So, this is how we're going to start, and I'm going to hand it over to Liam.
Well, I'm going to share a little bit. Thank you for that, Gethin. I am going to share with our audience a little bit why we started this program. So I've known Gethin since you're going to have to help me out. I think it's 2019 that we
Yeah.
met.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I am a graduate, as most people know, of Lynn V. Andrews 4-year school, mysticism school. And I graduated in 2015. And afterward, not long after, I think it was within a year or two, I started mentoring other women. And Gethin was one of the women, the lovely women that I mentored. And I have to say, she was one of the very hardworking women. And I say that I really admired how far you were coming along and the things that you were doing, especially since you had a baby and then you were
Yeah.
pregnant with another baby, and then you had two babies that you were juggling, and a husband and a home. So it was really an honor for me to be part of that process and see you blossom and not so blossom, but see you through the challenges. But I knew that you were working so hard, and that was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened afterwards, we continued our work in different ways, mostly through film, and we have worked with other people on and you've come to Michigan actually, where we did a half day writing retreat. And so we have done different work together over time. And recently, you and I were talking about ways that we can bring, like you said, our forces together to provide certain service. Now, I know, Gethin, that you've been doing this work, even though I started working with you in 2019, but that's because that's when you enrolled in Lynn's school. And by the way, for people that don't know, you also graduated, but you've been doing this work for others since 2010. So tell us a little bit about that. And then tell us so we have this program where we are both involved in really providing our services to people, but as a team. I think like
Yeah.
this always works wonderfully. We know all about teamwork. I think all my successful projects have been as a result of teamwork. And even, and even throughout the process, even in Lynn's school, there was such a team helping us and supporting us. All these wonderful women are mentors and such, and Lynn, of course. So share what you've been doing since 2010 and what is going to be your part in this program.
Thank you so much, Liam. And honestly, just to go back a quick beat, the coming together in 2019 when I found out that you were going to be my mentor, I felt like it was so synchronistic and honestly destined because my writing, my passion for music, my passion for being on stage, I was more in the musical theatrical realm, and then bringing it to film really changed my own perspective of how limitless we are in our creations. And just working with you, and honestly, you being the example of embodying all of the acts of power that you've done over your lifetime, and then seeing this reflection in me going, wow, I've done the same thing. I just didn't know it was this and this and this, as we learned in the school. It really helped anchor in my practices. And in 2010, I already had started a very strong foundation in the beautiful disciplines of yoga. And even though they are like ancient and older, 5,000 plus years, they really are needing to be evolved or upgraded with our own evolutionary shift. And I do take such pride in the study and the disciplines that I've learned throughout these Indian practices that came from the eastern part of the world, but really they are so universal. And I truly sunk my roots into how I could open up my own subtle bodies and the energies within and throughout by practicing it and teaching it. And then truly it has developed into a much more advanced study for my own personal self. And just seeing how my own example, much like you, just living my life, how it really has impacted other people. And so when I started the school, I really started to create different businesses and branches within my business to honor the various ways that I can help people, like intuitive channeling, spiritual coaching, tailored yoga sessions, sound healing, because I am a musician and I love it and I love the science of it, and breath work, because all of that works to help open ourselves up to a new way of living and a new story. And Weam has incredible gifts with the power of perception and the power of narration. And so I just would love to ask, because I bring in this spiritual intuition part where I get to help people come into their higher self and truly ask their soul, why am I here? What is my purpose, right? And reconnect with that, because we all already know we have the answers within. And then WeM takes all of this good energy and this good information and, asks the important questions. And so WeM, why don't you tell me what your part in this program is?
I will, but I after I tell you a little bit, and I do have a question for you actually, for
Oh, nice.
people to learn more about what you do. So with me, I think I did not know it in the beginning, but storytelling has healed me and helped me grow, and it has allowed me to make what we call acts of power, as you had mentioned earlier. And I recently had I often am asked, how do I do what I do? It's very difficult to explain. Even in one setting, the work that's involved in doing like tiny, smaller acts of power and starting and then exercising that muscle so that when you do have a certain desire that you want to make happen, what it requires and the patience and the skills and the prayer and everything else that goes into it, the courage and the support. You also need support, and you need a sounding board for people, which you've been there for me when I was working on Pomegranate. And then sometimes, things happen, and picking up that phone and really having somebody just even listening and understanding where I'm coming from, regardless of whether they're directly in the film industry or not. It was more about understanding the energies that work within us and how to change that story that might be holding us back. For instance, in my case, when I started with the school, I had issues. I had self-worth issues. So many people have that. A lot of women have self-worth issues, which stops them from pursuing their dreams. And also,
And in
if they,
any culture, honestly, in any culture, not just America. We know you're from Iraq, but so many cultures of women around the entire world. Yes.
yes, and you know what? That's an excellent point, because at some points I thought, oh, because I come from this. And then over the years, so many women that I worked with were experiencing similar things in different ways. And then I realized, wow, this is really just, many women have these issues. And when you are a mom, when you're a wife and a mother, and you care to maintain a balance with your family, you love your family, and you don't want to mess up their environment for the sake of your dream, and you're trying to figure all this out. That I think when the ancient teachings became they're just priceless, because
Hmm.
then you are able to nurture loved ones, to nurture yourself, nurture loved ones, teach your children just by being examples. You said earlier, that I was an example for you. Well, Lynn and my mentors were examples for me. And that just what we were taught is to continue these teachings, continuing to pass it on. I mean, I think this program is about that. So I help tap into a person's story, something that they're stuck on that is holding them back, and for them to look deep into it. And, it was only in 2011 is when I met Lynn, and I know that there was a story that was interfering and getting in the way of my progress, which I had been way too afraid to tap into. And all the books, all the people, that my friends, whoever I connected with, could not tap into that because it was so deep and scary to look at. And Lynn, using these ancient teachings, was able to do that. Then I realized, well, we need to serve each other by helping be mirrors for each other. And I think for me, because storytelling has been incredible in changing my story, the one story that came from self-worth issues became my story, where I turned it into a success. That, yes, I came from there, and then I made this full circle, and I created this and that. And I did that because I recognized what was the issue that was holding me back, what was at the center, at the heart of my pain, what was my wound. And we all have those wounds, and they could be different. I mean, everybody has different wounds, and that wasn't my only issue, by the way. There
I
was
was just
layers.
thinking, like, the layers. Exactly. It
There's
takes some
so
layers to get to
it
it.
keeps
Yeah.
going. It keeps going. It just gets easier, and it gets a lot easier when you have a support system.
And less
Um,
scary. And less
yes.
scary. Because you name it, you can see it. And when you name the things that we're afraid of, it all of a sudden takes that power away from it. And so then it loses that scary factor. And then all of a sudden we're looking at it objectively from the center. I know we're going to talk about the wheel, but really from that witness place. And we're like, oh, that's what I'm scared of. Just like our little children going, it's dark in the hallway. Oh my goodness, I need a light on. And it's like you shine the light of awareness in it and you realize, yeah, they're no monsters.
Right. And when we always, at the end of the day, we turn within. Sometimes we don't have that person to turn to, but
Right.
what this opportunity is to do both, so
Yeah.
that you are not depending on a particular person, but you are touching base with yourself enough to see what ways and what tools can help you move forward. Now, I have a question for you, Gethen.
Yeah.
So you've talked about this before, and I would like you to share it with the viewers. How does connecting with someone's higher self and guidance system actually help them create change in their life?
I love this, and that's such a good question because I really do focus on the connection within and the connection with our higher self because our higher self truly is the straight, direct connection to Great Spirit, to Source, to God, to Allah, like all the names that we give to this higher intelligence, this infinite presence that is woven throughout everything. And so often, and this is what we are reprogramming as a collective right now. This is a very appropriate time to be launching this program because people are awakening from a very deep slumber, from eons of a slumber in our consciousness, in our collective field. So we have been programmed to look from the outside in to get our answers from something that's from without us. And when we are constantly seeking guidance and affirmations from external resources, we lose our own intrinsic power within us to go within, to quieten the mind and the chatter, the chitta vritti, and to truly tap into our higher self's wisdom and ask our higher self, hey, what do I do in this situation? It seems like my life is falling apart into crumbles. And Lord knows I have been there many times, and it all serves a purpose. And something about myself, like I've always known my purpose, but most people I can say we're waking up to that. We're waking up to that knowing of what is my purpose. And that truly is the grounding force for each one of us to know I matter, I mean something, and all of the answers I'm seeking are within me. And that is our higher self. And so when we connect and we do it daily and we are constantly practicing this, oh, we start to realize our reality and our external circumstances are a reflection of what is happening within. And when we start working with that within, I'll say within the connection of ourself, then our whole reality outside changes. So as we're connecting with our higher self and as we are connecting within, we start to realize how much power, and in the sense of the word of truly tapped into that higher spirit power, that we can co-create a reality with this higher intelligence. And so it really changes our lives. I've seen it with myself time and time again. I've seen it with you. I've seen it with us. And when you started the call saying, yeah, it being in a team really creates such great change. It's true, because when we are aligned with these intentions more than just ourselves, oh my goodness, it's so much faster and it's so much quicker because we're all holding the space for each other. Much like the sisterhood, the ancient teachings, and Lynn's school and that support system has given to us.
I mean, we know just in most spiritual traditions that what you do unto others, it's the golden rule. It just naturally comes back. There is something, there is a magic in working with people who are there to really care and want to, for the want to help you improve in whatever way, or just to provide support. I've had people that I've worked with, and I've mostly worked with women, I'll be honest, where the one session where there was something that was just in their heart that had been just there for a long time that they just had to release. And that one
Yeah.
session was just all they needed. And just to relax, or and maybe, like, again, we talk about the fear of looking at something that we really need to look at. And unless we have somebody that has the tools and the wisdom and the teachings behind them, that we could just be there and provide sacred space. That
Yes.
sometimes that's all a person needs, is that sacred space. So we created this program that
Yeah.
we've talked a lot about ways to help others. We have, and I think we've done it, and we've worked together in different ways. You've worked with people and I've worked with people, but we've also together have worked in different ways. Um,
Mm,
like I said, in the retreat, and even with when we were working on the film,
yeah.
the support that you provided. So you were part of that circle, and that's also working together. But
Mhm.
this is something more very strategic, and it's specific,
Very
and
intentional.
we very intense, and we
Yeah.
have studied it,
Mm.
and tried to provide it. We know things are different than in the past. You and I went through a 4-year school.
Yeah. Lifetimes in 4 years. You cannot measure it. And I think like what you were saying too, in our one sessions that we've done with people or with ourselves, it's like, wow. But then for us working together so consistently, we have noticed the shifts happen so rapid that, I mean, without calling them sessions, just
The
being together, our phone
quickening.
calls.
We even
Yes, the
call it a
quickening.
quickening, that when you are
Yeah.
working with someone, something happens on a different level,
Mm,
that you just can't describe. That's very difficult. And I think this goes for anything in life, to be honest
yeah.
with you. I've always worked with teams, and my team's not necessarily been in the forefront, but recently they've become. I said, we need to provide the type of support that I have been given, and the system that has worked for me. I think that it works for most people who are able to succeed, is because it's very difficult. You might have to, in the very beginning, do things on your own, but at some point you need to have that kind of a system. And what we
Mhm.
have provided is the opportunity to work through a one session, intense session with both of us, but separately,
Yeah.
where I work on the storytelling part and you work on the intuitive healing part. And
Yeah.
then there's also another opportunity, the 4-week opportunity, which I don't know, I keep thinking of the 4 year, 4 weeks.
It's
um,
the quickening. And we haven't talked about the wheel, but really, when you're looking at, let's just talk about it briefly because
yes,
this is a
please
part
do.
when Leanne's talking about storytelling, let's just remind everybody we're talking about our own storytelling. What is our personal narrative that we are telling ourselves? This is how my life is. This is how I'm, blah blah blah. These are the circumstances that, and it's the stories we tell ourselves. Oh, that's not happening because la la la. And I'm saying these words because those words, we come to find out, really hold all the meaning or no meaning. And it's what we choose to tell ourselves with the story or the storytelling or the perspective that we're holding. And so Weam is wonderful. I mean, part of the ancient teachings that are around the world is something called the wheel or the medicine wheel or the sacred wheel. And it goes essentially through the four directions into the center. And so, do you want to tell a little bit about? So, this kind of ties in with the 4 weeks because
Yeah.
we go through this.
So, right. So, whatever topic that we're going to be working on with the individual, we go around the wheel each week.
Mm-hmm.
And we have the South, where the physical aspect of ourself lives. We have the West, where the emotional aspect lives. And we have the North, the spiritual aspect. And then we have the East, where the intellectual side lives. And none of them are less or more important than the other. It's about looking at all these aspects, the four aspects of ourselves, so that we can feel whole, at least in what we are working on to make it whole. And to make it whole, once we address it and we go over through the wheel, and to give it that nourishment and the time that it deserves, so that it can be healed, and that you can grow outside of it, so that you can go on to do other things and to maybe even address other things, but I the wheel has been incredible for me, and I know it's been incredible for you. We used to have it to do it daily in
Yeah.
our case, and we can provide those kind of instructions so
Mm-hmm.
that the person, by the end of the 4 weeks, if they so choose that 4 week period, can continue on using the wheel in other aspects of themselves, because things are always going to come up. It's not that your
Mm-hmm.
life stops having problems. No,
No.
your kids grow. I mean, if you're single, you might meet somebody, a partner. If you're married, you might want divorce. Oh, who knows? People
Oh
have different
yeah.
issues. Your
Well,
kids
and
grow.
your dreams, they go through phases and
Your routines.
seasons.
That's
So,
right.
like your film with pomegranate, it went through so many different aspects within the wheel, and we were holding it within the center, holding what we know to be true and watching it change. I'm doing this because it's like in the circle going around the wheel. And very much you take those tools with you every time because it's not just our energy, it's filtering and monitoring and truly maintaining everybody else's energy and holding the space. I talk with my hands, holding that space within us and around us so that we really are being responsible with our own energy, our own thoughts, our emotions, our physical, wherever we're at in life, and letting the force of, let's say, our dreams coming to life, letting that force be pure and true and truly like I don't know, whatever the word is, like it's not deterred. It's not deterred by all of the stuff that we're growing through, that it's just its own pure essence.
It's so easy nowadays. And it even was, I know that people think, well, now it's harder because there's social media and there's this and so many distractions. But I can say that there felt like there was just as much distractions when I first started
Oh.
with the teachings. My kids were a lot younger. There was other types of distractions. So social media is just, there's always a distraction. But it's the looking within and utilizing those tools so that you can stay focused, and that you can just keep looking within and work on whatever you need to work on. And you start falling in love with that. And
Yeah.
the more you practice it, the more it becomes like a natural routine. I remember my first year teacher, she said, this becomes such a normal practice that you end up when you're washing a dish. and you're
Yeah.
going around and washing the dish and you're going around the wheel. It integrates through your life. It's empowering. It's really, really empowering to be able to look within. And I want to say,
Oh,
for people, if they want to check it out, we're going to have a link
yeah.
with
In
the
the
other
descriptors.
information.
Yep.
Yes.
And below. Hmm.
And they can look into that. But I'm going to just mention what I find is sometimes people, and this goes for everybody, but women do this a lot. Sometimes they are afraid to invest in themselves,
Mm.
even though it's something that's long term
It's
help
something you take with your life. I mean, it
it's for
really
life.
is.
Yes.
Yeah.
And at that time when I went into Lynn school, I wasn't even planning. All I wanted, I called her for some literary advice. And then I said, what do I want to, 4 years. And I remember the lady at the administrator, she said, well, you can sign up, and if in 3 months you decide not to continue, then whatever you received in those 3 months is going to be very beneficial. And I said, really, like it would help me with my writing? She said, "Oh, it's going to change your whole life."
Yeah.
And then it went from me thinking my writing was so important because I had given too much identity to that I neglected to see all the other blessings and all the
Mm.
other parts of myself and how to coordinate them in this dance, in this life. That to me, I got chills because that's the reward. Life is not just about what our occupation is. So
Or
there's so much to
relationship.
life.
Yeah.
And I think based on what you explained on looking and seeing what our purpose is, you see deeper and deeper, so much meaning. And if for people who are interested, who want to check it out, you do have to fill out a form. If you show your interest, you can reach out, but you do have some questions that you need to answer to even see if this is an okay fit or if this is aligned.
Yeah.
You really, for both of us, I think it's important
Hmm.
for everybody involved. This has to be aligned. It
Yeah.
has to feel right. And so
Hmm.
that, again, it would be like a blessing for everybody.
Absolutely. We're always looking to elevate one another. And that's why we're taking what we do so naturally and putting it together in one program. And it really helps each client, each individual expand not only on their soul knowing, but the all of the layers of our body. I mean, we're talking every time we say layer, we're really speaking multidimensional. We live a life that comes from within and then it outwardly projects with our relationships. So what we choose to do on a daily basis, our passions, our creativity, how we're weaving our voice and our authenticity, our truth into everything that we do, so that everything is a mirror for our higher self and for who we truly are. The channelings that I give are incredibly powerful and potent, and they are not from me. I'm just the vessel, and all of that comes through. It's a streaming of higher consciousness, and it's absolutely from each client with the permission of their guides and their teams, their spirit teams that they work with. And then Weam takes all of this beautiful energy that the client gives to them from my session into hers, and they work it around the wheel into their own powerful story. We want everyone to feel empowered by their own self.
Yeah, I want to add something that when now you're talking about this, one important aspect of when you work on yourself, and whether you work with us or however you work on yourself,
Yeah.
you are not only gifting yourself
Mm,
uh, this opportunity for healing and growth, but what
mm,
happens once we start working on ourselves, you start seeing a shift with all the loved ones around you. They automatically benefit without you having to sit them down and explain anything. When I worked on my stuff, and I know that
so
you do this,
true.
we're in our own little world, but the shifts happen. That's why
Mm,
that's often said, it starts within, it starts with you. This
mhm.
really, this is the utmost definition of starting with you. You
Yes.
start with you and you just watch what happens around you. And we have, for me, I talk about me being, oftentimes with a Chaldean of ancient Babylonians who were great mathematicians. They were astrologers, mathematicians, scientists, philosophers, spiritual guides. They were just very into all of this. So
Authors.
I help people, even in the storytelling, even in the writing. I mean, that's where writing was invented in ancient Mesopotamia by who started it by women, actually, that they started writing. And so we help in the process of even keeping track of these changes. So when we're trying to lose weight, we get on a scale. Yeah. And we count, and we count the calories, or we count the exercises, and we have all this regimen. When it comes to spiritual work, there is a calculation in that you are able to see, but you have to work with people to understand how the calculation works. The scale is different.
Yeah.
The scale is different.
Yeah, it is. And the more that you acknowledge it and count it, it actually happens quicker, because your guides, your angels, whoever you're working with are like, they're listening. Oh, okay, great. Okay, let's do it again. Let's do it again. Oh, they're still listening. Oh my gosh. And so it's a reciprocal relationship that we have with spirit. It's very much we're not alone. We're doing this with our spirit teams, with our spirit helpers, with our higher self. And it is that calculation, because then it starts to exponentially give results. And then it's a quantum healing, and it's a quantum jump.
It is quantum healing.
We didn't even rehearse it.
Through storytelling and spirituality. And it's really an amazing experience that I think people, if they feel called to give themselves that, or to check it out at least.
Absolutely.
So I could go on with you for the longest time.
Because it's so good.
We have, again, we started working with the school in 2019, but shortly after, within like a year, we were also involved with the film and other things. And I think we're proof of how teamwork works, how it helps, how it elevates both. So it's really great energy. And for anybody, again, that's called, just if you go to my website and check out the services, and if it does call you, just reach out. And all you have to do is, afterwards, we send you a form. And again, this might be a fit, but if it's not, then, I encourage you, even if you feel like it's not a fit, to find the right fit with the same type of support that we're discussing here.
Absolutely. And definitely check me out too. Everything is evolving. And so this is a beautiful time to reach out to people that you never would have normally reached out to, that's outside your comfort zone. That's especially the time when the frequencies are higher within ourselves. You start to find each other, and the synchronicities just happen naturally. And so if we are with you right now, and you have this information, and you're watching this right now, the synchronicities are there. They're starting, whether it's with us or not. It's just a clear affirmation that you are upgrading your own self and your own life. So yeah, thank you.
Your website is GethenChristine.com, right?
Yep, GethenChristine.com. Yes.
Same thing. Mine is weamnamou.com.
Weamnamou.com.
Very easy. Very easy. Well, thank you everybody for watching. I'm sure we'll do things in the future, so we can. I know that we have even before we started, there were some questions about people who heard about this program, and so what we might do is maybe once a month or so, we'll gather these questions and then just come on to just share with our viewers. So thank you, Gethen.
Love that. Thank you, Weam. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a wonderful night. Take care.
Have a great night.
Namaste.
Bye-bye.
Bye.